A bill that would actually ban some Christian books is working its way through the California State Assembly. Sponsors of Assembly Bill 2943 actually want to outlaw books that basically teach against homosexuality and gender.
California is looking to pass a bill that could ban the sale of Christian books that address issues of homosexuality and transgenderism. Proceedings to pass the law are taking place quickly in the state, and the bill could pass in the California Senate as soon as late May. Joining us now to talk more about this is Ann Pauk. She is the executive director of Restored Hope Network, which oversees about 13 ministries in California that help people overcome same-sex attraction. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you so much for having me.
Explain for us what is in this bill.
Well, I'm really saddened to have to share, but it actually prohibits both counseling and materials being sold that help people who want to leave homosexuality, including adults. And so it prohibits both the sale of any exchange that's related to financial exchange for counseling services or products and materials, including Christian counseling, Christian conferences, books, videos, you name it. Even advertising those materials are potentially subject to suit in the state of California if this bill passes.
How does this affect the Bible? Because obviously the Bible speaks out against homosexuality.
Indeed it does. Now, the Bible might be prohibited in the case that somebody says, hey, I'm looking at, is homosexuality okay with God? Well, let me recommend to you that you purchase this Bible, and it has the answers for that question. The person goes and looks and reads 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 11, which prohibits homosexuality, and says that such were some of you, which is amazing. It's this testimony of transformed lives, regenerated lives. Amazing, Paul wrote. And as they do that, because the person went and purchased the Bible based upon the philosophy that gives them the answers for how to leave homosexuality, they could literally sue based upon that fact. So the Bible, in that case, would be prohibited. And that is a tragedy for a state of California. They're doing actually book bannings and speech banning within the counseling field. A lot of people look for help leaving homosexuality and addressing unwanted same-sex attraction. And at this point, California seeks to actually ban help for individuals who are seeking it as adults within the state.
Wow, that is very disturbing. It sounds very end times. Where does the bill stand right now?
The bill is currently, it just passed the Assembly. So the House passed it in the state of California very rapidly, with plenty of people speaking out against it. And now it is waiting to be assigned to committee within the Senate. At that point, it may be assigned to 2 committees, we're assuming, and then it will go for a full Senate vote. I've heard rumor that the goal would be potentially to sign the bill by the governor in June. So we're talking about a very fast track for a huge problem with the First Amendment and speech and religion, and the 14th Amendment, which prohibits certain information getting out and affiliation and assistance. So there are some serious problems with this bill, and several Christian organizations, legal firms, are going to file as soon as it's signed into law. So we have that currently in place as well. But it is a serious problem in the state of California, and what happens in California rarely stays in California. It's usually the setup for the next state, usually based upon liberal states, so they'll target Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, and essentially states where there's a little bit more liberal thinking. But eventually it will invade even the Bible Belt. So we've got a situation where all eyes are on California right now.
Well, if this passes, how would it affect the ministries that you work with?
Well, this bill, if it passes, would prohibit a great deal of what it is we do. We suggest books for people to purchase. You want to know how to reach your loved one, how to interpret what the Scripture says related to homosexuality. how to leave homosexuality. We have numerous books, bookshelves full of books and materials and videos that help people, and all of those would be subject to being sued. As soon as money changes hand, whether it's through Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, lawsuits come into play. And that's exactly the intent, to chill the First Amendment freedoms and the 14th Amendment freedoms. They want to shut down any care, potentially. That's been stated even by Sam Brinton with Google employees. He did a presentation there, and it was affirmed by the National Center for Lesbian Rights, which is actually weighing in on a lot of this legislation across the country. And so the intent is to actually stall any help for those who want to leave homosexuality, and that would definitely impact my work. Had this happened